So, to get into tonight's episode of Fear the Walking Dead titled The Door, this was a big episode. This really was. It was a massive episode that I wonder how the fan base is going to react. Like, my reaction is posted on the channel. The like if you're a member, that should be live now, so you'll see my reaction to when tonight's big moment happened, how I reacted to it, etc. It was big. I was not expecting that. I was expecting parts of it because people talked about it beforehand. Like, I didn't know who it was going to be, but people talked about a big moment coming. And just, I mean, you would hear in the reaction, right? I started to realize at certain points, I was like, oh, it could be this person. Is it going to be this person because of this? Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. And so, yeah, let's talk about this episode. Not a lot actually happened in terms of furthering the plot, but I will say this does feel like a mid-season finale. This was supposed to be the mid-season finale, but obviously the pandemic last year shut everything down, and so everyone was forced to postpone filming, and then they started filming in like September or October, and they finished the rest of the season. And I will say that this episode is up there for sure. For like my favorite episodes of season 6 anyways, like this episode is definitely up there. Some crazy things happen that I really wasn't expecting it. And I guess I should say that this will contain spoilers, obviously, for tonight's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. And if you are new here, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Fear the Walking Dead content like this. For The Walking Dead, there's actually a lot of stuff that happened this week that I'm going to cover this week. It's just this last week's been really rough for me. And so, yeah, you guys probably saw on Instagram, it's just kind of dealing with that. And yeah, the first few days were pretty tough. Things are getting easier now. And yeah, I hate it. It felt like things for me personally were going to get really good. It just seemed like things were going to get so good. And then all of a sudden this has to happen. And it's like, it doesn't mean it has to not be good. It's just something else now kind of thing. And I guess that's life, right? But there are some updates on Negan and a potential spinoff series. And I do think that they might be going forward with that. I think AMC is actually very interested in that, and it might not be what we're thinking in terms of unlimited series. It might be an actual series where there could be unlimited amount of episodes. They could do 4, 5, 6 seasons of it, right? So I'm going to talk about that throughout the week and also the final season because there's a lot more to talk about with it. But for this, we're going to be talking about Fear the Walking Dead and some hints in this episode, and they also clear up a lot of things. So yeah, if you're new to the channel and you want more content like this, just make sure to be a subscriber. And if you haven't already and you want new content, commentary reactions, live streams and stuff like that, just make sure to go join the channel down below. There's a join button there and stuff, and I post commentary reactions and all of that there. So anyways, let's talk about this episode. So John dies. Let's just get right into it. Like I said, not a lot actually happens in the episode. There's little tidbits of information that we learn on the status of everything in terms of everyone coming together, being in certain locations, and what Virginia's up to, what's going on with like Strand and Alicia and June and stuff like that. But this episode mostly revolved around John, Dakota, and Morgan. It really was their episode, and it was a good episode. If you actually think about what was happening, like not a lot happened, but it was that good. The scene I really liked was the scene with Morgan and John talking about, I think it was just life and just things in general. And this was a very dialogue heavy episode, and it wasn't boring. So I don't know what happened to the writers of Fear the Walking Dead. If they're just, is it even them writing? Because like the writing has changed a lot. The dialogue, it wasn't boring, and it's weird for me to say that. I'm so used to getting so bored with Fear the Walking Dead, and I wasn't bored the entire time. I was so invested in the episode. Looking back at it now, I mean, it really was a John episode. Like, you do learn a lot about his backstory. You see a picture of him as a kid and you learn about his father. You're on his home farm or his homeland or whatever, right? Like, we spend so much time with him. Things get very dark. This episode does get very dark, and it talks about a lot of things that I guess I get it. I do get it for John. I was really confused at first, but I do get it because it's his home. Of course he wants to stay there, right? I wanted him to go with Morgan. I was like, just go with Morgan. But like, I get it though. You know what I mean? Like, it's his home. It's something that's so personal to him and the stuff that he was going through. I think he was a little lost a bit, but there's something about that place that was very emotional for him. That's why he wanted to stay there. And then what happened had to happen. And so let's talk about it, right? Let's just jump right into this. Dakota, for some reason, shoots John. Now, I'm going to say I like the decision in terms of writing, like in terms of what they can do with this in the future, because now, like, first of all, I hate Dakota. And it's always good to have someone to hate on a show because when they do get their payback, it's awesome. It feels great. And it's just a way to keep you invested in the show, right? It's smart. What I am worried about, though, is that they're going to make us like Dakota or force us to like her like we did with Charlie. because I still don't care for Charlie. I just don't. I don't hate her now or anything like that. But when I see her, I'm just like, why are you still on the show? Like, I forget that she's even there half the time. And it's because of what she did. And even with her, it was a little more understandable because she was a kid and she was scared. So you can almost forgive her for that a little bit, right? A little more so than Dakota, because Dakota, what I don't get is, and I might have missed a little bit from the episode, but she shot John because John found out that she was the one that killed Cameron, which resulted in like Janice's death and all that stuff happening to John, which really destroyed him and made him come to this place, and it sent him down this dark path. It really depressed him. Now, the thing about that is that would have been bad in terms of how John would react to Dakota. But John was telling Dakota that we'll make this all work. Okay, I know you did that, but we'll make it work. Like I can bring you to this place, this and that. I'll go with you. Everything's going to be fine. And it was like, finally, John's going to go because he was right on death's door, right? He had a gun right in his face and he was just like, okay, I'll go with you. We'll do things your way. Okay, we're going to make everything okay. And for some reason, Dakota didn't believe him. And she kept saying that you're going to mess this up for me somehow and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, how is he going to mess things up for you? Like, if Virginia found out about that, so what? I don't think Dakota wants to go back to Virginia. And I'm just really confused there. I don't get that part. And I don't understand why she had to do that. She was very emotional, whatever, but I just don't get it. I really don't. And we also got some more of a big reveal too with Dakota. She's the one that saved Morgan. She's the one that left that note there. I will say I'm not too big of a fan of the reveal, but it also makes sense. I wasn't really like realistically thinking it was going to be Madison, but it's the fact that it was Dakota, like it works. It does work. She would have been there. And it makes sense that she would have done that. It's just her whole speech afterwards about you have to keep me here because of this. Like, Morgan, no, don't keep her there. Like, just don't. But he decides to. He just decides to not do anything. And I guess the reason is because of Gracie. He can't play his cards that way, right? He's got to be patient and wait. He hates Dakota, I'm sure. Like, he was holding it back there. But if he did kill her in that moment, then Gracie, that'd be really bad. So this is how you do it. I just don't know how Dakota's expecting this to go in a good direction, because she's going to get there. People are going to know that she did that. And what, is she just going to be fine and just allowed to be here? You know, that's not going to happen. June's going to be pissed. Alicia, everyone's going to be pissed at what she did to John. Morgan, I think, will also be pissed. So I just don't see it working out that way at all. And I think if Morgan tries to stand up for Dakota in the end, I'm going to be pretty pissed off about that, because Dakota had no excuse to do that. There was no reason to do that. He said that like everything was going to be okay, and she still did it. And not even that, he's floating in the water trying to get away, and she's like wanting to pull the trigger again. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't get why she was. I don't get it. We get that heartbreaking scene in the end, and we see June and John together. I do feel like June should have been crying a little bit. It's weird that she wasn't crying. And Lauren Cohen, I think also with Maggie and Glenn, I think actually with Maggie, she had a bigger reaction, but there has been some reactions from, like, in moments like this anyways, in the Walking Dead universe, where it's like, you should definitely be crying and freaking out right now. That is someone you love. That was someone so close to you, and you're finding them like this. You should be freaking out. And like, when I just think of what happened to Carl when he got shot by Otis and how much Rick freaked out. Rick was screaming, and he ran all the way to Herschel, right? Like, it just, when I think of moments like that, I'm like, that's how it should be. That's how you should react. That is the most realistic way to react. And now it's just like this whole emotional thing of like, I'm looking at you, and I this is so hard on me, and I just can't believe it. I'm stunned and I'm shocked, and I'm, you know what I mean? Like, I don't agree with the acting choice there. And I think she should have been freaking out there. I don't get why they choose to not do that, but still, regardless of that, that's just a criticism of mine. The scene was still sad. It was still sad to see June put John down, and to see John like that. It just was. And I can't believe that John is gone now. Like, that's just, he's gone from the show. You know, he was a great character. It sucks that he was around from season 4, or around for the worst seasons of the show, for season 4 and 5. But I mean, he was never really a bad part of those seasons. He's always been a really great addition to the show. He's one of my favorite characters. I don't know how people are going to react about it. And so that's what I mean when I say I like the writing for this. Like, I like the writing in terms of what you can do now with Dakota, because everyone's going to hate her. it creates all of this, chaos, and now you're very invested in the show. So I get it now. I really do get it. But I don't know. I don't know if I agree with Dakota's reasonings for it. You know what I mean? And writing it that way, because it just kind of comes out of nowhere. There's no reason for her to do it. And so that's why I don't know if I like the death completely. I get it. I think it's still going to be good. It's not like a Carl situation, but I don't understand Dakota's reasoning for it. And I think it could have been written a little bit better. But I guess that's what they were building to here, right? It still doesn't take away from how amazing this season actually has been. This episode was phenomenal still. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the next one. I really cannot wait for next week's episode. It's gonna be good to see everyone's reaction. And I honestly can't wait to see your guys' reaction in the comments, because I've been hearing some people talk about certain things in the episode, and people have been trying to spoil it, but like I've just ignored everything for the most part. I want to see what you guys have to say, so definitely comment down below. This episode was a great episode. It was definitely a great start to this second half of the season. This definitely felt like a mid-season finale, you can tell. And yeah, I guess the war to fight Virginia is starting now. Everyone's starting to gear up. There's some of the end is the beginning stuff that I guess we're going to get into, but yeah, all that stuff is starting now. So I can't wait, but post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.